Are you tired of dying to kids that have better class setups than you? Well, fear not, because today we are going to be going over the best XM4 class for Call of Duty Cold War. It officially released today, and now we are going to be giving you guys the best class for it. You unlock this weapon at the very beginning of Cold War, and you can continue to use it no matter your level with this class setup. So stay tuned for the best class loadout for the XM4. But before we get into the video, I do have to ask the question of the day, and that's on a scale of 1 to 10. How much do you like Cold War? 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. Be sure to let us know in the comments of this video. But now let's go ahead and get into the class setup. So starting us out, we are going to be just talking about this class. We're going to the Assault Rifle Alpha, the XM4. So let's go ahead and take a look at what attachments we want to have on. We're going to be explaining each part of it. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So we're opening up the gunsmith. And the first option that we have is the optic. And this is completely personal preference. I prefer to not run an optic. I just like iron sights. But if I was to run one, I would most likely go with the Microflex LED. But once again, personal preference. I prefer to just keep iron sights, so I don't run one. But in the end, it's up to you. And just before we get into this, you guys might be asking how I have 8 attachments. Well, that is where our wild card comes into play. If you put on Gunfighter, you unlock 3 additional attachment slots for your primary weapon. So that's what we are running. So we already went over the optic. Now let's talk about our first attachment, which is the muzzle. And for this, we're going with the infantry compensator. And the reason why I wanted to go ahead and run this is because we get that 12% increase for the vertical recoil control. And whenever you're using an assault rifle, you will most likely want to have the best recoil. And this gives us plus 12% on the vertical recoil. And it only takes away 8% on that horizontal recoil. So I personally really like this one. I've been using it and I've been loving it. So this is the one that I would go with. Now moving on, we have our barrel. And for this one, I'd go ahead and run the 3.7-inch takedown. The reason why I like this is because it only gives us a decrease of 5% sprinting move speed, but we get 150% effective damage range. And this means that we can shoot our targets from farther away. And overall, it's just a huge plus. We don't have to get up close to deal a ton of damage. So this is what I would go with whenever you're talking about your barrel. Moving on, we have to talk about the body. And for this, I'd go ahead and just run the easy steady aim laser. It gives you 20% hip fire accuracy. So now you're not having to aim down scopes in order to go ahead and shoot your enemies. So that's what I would run here. Now let's go to the underbarrel, and for this we have the field agent grip. So as you guys can see under the pros, we are going to be increasing that vertical recoil control even more, but then we get plus 20% horizontal recoil control. So effectively we get a plus 12% recoil control on the horizontal axis, because as you guys remember, in our muzzle we actually lost that, but this just makes up for it. And then the only thing that we do lose is 26% of our shooting move speed, but we'll talk about that a bit later because we do increase that with our other attachments. So next we have our magazine, and this one should be pretty much common sense because I feel like whenever we're using an assault rifle, we're always wanting to just have as many bullets as possible. So I went ahead and used the standard magazine 50 round, or the Stanag 50 rounds, and this is what it's going to give you. For the pros, we get a plus 67% magazine ammo capacity. So it goes from 30 to 50 rounds per mag. And then you get plus 67% max starting ammo. And then plus 67% ammo capacity. So we're going to that 50 round mag. The only cons that we get is a minus 10% reload quickness and minus 15% aim down sight time. But we're actually going to increase that with other attachments. And so that's what I would do. I love having 50 rounds because it feels like I don't have to reload, and I'm not having to reload in the middle of fights. So this is like one of my favorite attachments, because trying to use this thing at the very beginning before you're able to unlock these attachments by leveling up the weapon, it can get kind of frustrating. I personally had a ton of struggle here, and then I just stopped leveling the thing up and I moved straight towards the Pellington and trying to level that thing up. We're talking about the XM4 here, so we're going to continue on with this build. So next we're moving to the handle, and you guys already know we're got the drop shot wrap on it, and this is just going to allow you to aim while going prone. If you're able to do this while everybody else isn't in your lobbies, you are going to just start destroying. You're going to get so many kills. You're not going to die as much, because remember, whenever you're drop shotting, they have to readjust their aim down to the ground, and in the end, some people just aren't fast enough to do that. So that's why I like the drop shot wrap. And then on top of that, we also get a plus 50% flinch resistance, which is always nice, but we're mainly using it to be able to drop shot. And now our final attachment that we are going to be putting on this weapon is the buffer tube. With the buffer tube, we get a 30% increase on sprint to fire time, and then we only lose minus 15% hip fire accuracy. So this does make the speed a bit better, where we were losing it in our other attachment. So that's why I like the buffer tube. Just that sprint to fire time is really nice. So that's going to go ahead and give us the best class for the XM4. But then I thought, well, we need to add some extra to it. So let's go ahead and give you the best loadout with it and which weapons suit it the best. So we're going ahead with the Gallo SA12. And with this, I prefer not to have an optic, but it's up to you guys in the end. And you would have to replace one of these, but this is what I recommend. Go ahead and add that barrel. 22.7 extended, because this is going to give you 12% effective damage range. You're able to shoot a bit farther away. Moving on, we got the body. Steady aim laser never hurts anyone because of that plus 20% hip fire accuracy. So if you're one of those players that don't like to aim in that shotgun, you can go ahead and just fire it without having to aim in. And now for the magazine, I go ahead and put in that 9-round tube, because we get plus 29% magazine ammo capacity, plus 29% max starting ammo, plus 29% ammo capacity. So in the end, you don't get to go, you don't get 12, but you do get 9. And as we can see right here, that reload quickness just really hurts it. And here we don't get like as much reload quickness if we didn't upgrade the ammo count, but ammo count's important. So just go with the 9-round tube. You'll thank me later. Next, for the handle, we're just going to go speed tape, just so that you're able to aim down sights a bit faster. This is for you players that like to aim down your shotguns, and that's why I like to do that. I want to aim down as quickly as possible, and that's pretty much with any weapon in COD. That's personal preference. I don't like sitting there waiting to aim down. It's not fun. And lastly, for the stock, we use that wire stock, and we get plus 10% sprint to fire time. And now, moving on, let's go ahead and just talk about our tactical. We're going to use a stem shot because it's able to heal you up. We always like to get healed. Then we're going to have a lethal explosive with the frag. And this, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. Nades are overpowered this Cold War. Or not overpowered, I guess, but I just don't like them. I find myself dying to them so much. But another thing that I see happening a ton is getting flashed, and we're going to talk about that with our perks, of course. Field upgrade, I like the field mic because it's basically a pocket UAV. I love it. I use it. Call it a day. Now let's move on to those perks. So we have our tactical mask. This is going to allow you to maximize resistance to flashbangs and stun grenades. We all hate getting flashed. We all hate getting stunned. We're going to go ahead and use that tactical mask. And then our second perk is Scavenger. I feel like with an assault rifle, I already touched on this, but you want to have as much ammo as possible, and this way you're able to replenish your ammo from fallen players. Then finally, our last perk is that Ghost, and this one, you're not going to be caught by those UAVs, because I know that can be annoying, because when the other team knows where you are, you're most likely going to be dead already. But that's what I would go there. And we already touched on our wild card. It's Gunfighter, which allows you to get 3 additional attachment slots for your primary weapon. Guys, I hope that this video did help you out. Hopefully you learned the best loadout that includes the XM4, and you also learned the best class setup. I wanted to just add those secondary tactical lethal field upgrade perks and wildcards just to allow you guys to get a good loadout so you can play off of that XM4 if you ever want to swap weapons mid-game without changing that class. If you did enjoy, then be sure to like the video and subscribe with notifications on, because we're trying to grow this channel a lot and all help is appreciated. Also remember to comment down below the question of the day, and that is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate Cold War? So be sure to tell me that in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for staying all the way through this video, and I'll catch you all in the next one.